I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already feels like home.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig. Hey everybody, this is Marty and welcome to the Feels Like Home podcast. This week we sat down with one of my favorite people of all time, Jonathan Davis, the new superintendent of the Pickaway Ross Career Technology Center. Jonathan and I go way back, and this is a special episode because he shares what he's been doing in his new position and shares a little bit about his past and how he, his journey to becoming the superintendent at Pickaway Ross. And I hope you enjoy this conversation.
All right, if you're listening, you've probably just joined us here on Feels Like Home. Are you recording yet?
Yeah, I've been recording.
See, there you go. That's exactly right. And our guest today is Jonathan Davis, the new Pickaway Ross superintendent, but he is not a stranger to Ross County for sure.
No, sir.
And so I have to ask this question right on its face. Is this another in a long line of former Zane Trace soccer players
that have been on the podcast?
That have been on the podcast? Is that a, can we confirm or deny?
I thought that's what this podcast was all about, bringing in former...
That's really all it is. It's a ZT Soccer Alum podcast.
You didn't make it to the alumni game Saturday, did you?
I did.
Did you really?
I did.
Good for
you.
I
saw Gary Saladay,
nice,
who was there. I saw Lance Tharp. I saw the class of 98 was
strong. That's awesome.
Yes, my class of 99 was weak in that I was the only one there.
Mm.
So, but yes, I was.
But you carried the flag, so.
I did. Right. I played for 25 minutes. I did not injure myself.
Hey.
And I stood on the sideline and encouraged.
That's very good. That's actually, knowing your role as a player is very
correct.
important.
That's correct.
So I am taking this as a confirmation that you are yet again another ZT soccer player.
This is true.
That somehow I've unwittingly scheduled.
Yeah, every time we bring a guest in, Mike is like, "Hey, do you know Dan Oney?" Yeah, I coached him in soccer.
Did you coach him too?
Oh yeah, I have Jonathan. Yeah.
I just was like,
dude, Jonathan and I have all these, we go way back. We have all these crazy connections. We share a birth date. We share a wedding anniversary date.
Oh my goodness.
2 children.
Do I even need to be here? I'm going to go home.
No, we don't share 2 children,
no.
but we both have 2 kids.
Share custody? Is that what's going on?
Just clarification.
Kristen and I have 2 children.
Okay, very good.
And separately, Marty and his wife have 2 children.
But no, John.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
John played on when I moved into the varsity role. Maybe in my first or second year.
I was a junior.
You were a junior.
Yes,
my first year.
Yeah.
And man, I look back. I mean, I loved every team that I had, but and those years were a lot of fun. I just have a lot of friendships from those because I wasn't that much older than you guys, and I got the varsity job. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm having a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's interesting to look back on that now. I was 16, 17 years old, and I thought of Marty as coach and this mentor, and still do. But when you're that age, Marty was mature. And were you married? You were married at the time, because you had Maddie. Would have been my senior year.
Yeah, Maddie was born your senior year.
So like this guy who is this veteran.
I'd like to welcome the dogs into the chat.
Every week we get them at least one time.
Yep.
And now I look back, and you had to be really young. I don't. How old were you at this?
So
probably not even old enough to drink yet.
I graduated in 99.
You graduated in 99. When I took over that job, I was 27.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the year Maddie was born in 97 or 97, December of 97.
Okay.
Was halfway through your senior year.
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we didn't win as much as we would have liked, but absolutely. I'm another in the line of the Marty Ford lineage. You have had Wes Malbash, the more entertaining graduating member of the class of 99 from Zane Trace.
Yep, that's right. We have two guys representing that class. Yeah, Dan was a little older than you.
Dan graduated with my brother Adam.
Yeah,
in 95 or 95. Yeah, 95.
All right, so I'm calling a moratorium now on Zane Trace soccer players.
No more.
You've tapped all of the interesting ones.
We've got all the interesting ones so far. So,
and if the others are listening,
if you're out there,
let you know.
That's right. Yes,
if you're out there and you're a Zane Trace alum and you want to challenge Jonathan's statement, you're going to have to wait till season 3. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. No more in season 2.
Well, Jonathan is, as I said, the new Pickaway Ross superintendent. You've been on the job for like 3 months.
Right.
Well, you've been on since August, but school year started like 3 months ago.
Right.
So just to make people aware of like what Pickaway Ross is, kind of tell some the facts about it, like students and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Glad to.
Before he starts, full disclosure, I am a board member at Pickaway Ross. I probably should say that.
Full disclosure.
That's not why Jonathan is here, but it doesn't hurt. So.
Yes, it doesn't. I'm currently in a podcast with my mentor and former high school soccer coach and my current boss at Pickaway Ross. So, in full disclosure, Pickaway Ross is the Career and Technology Center located in Chillicothe, but obviously serves Ross County and Pickaway County districts. There are 10 homeschool districts that we partner with. We have about 650 students on our main campus there off Crouse Chapel Road, but we service about 1,500 other students in their homeschool satellite locations, magnet programs, offering career training and career pathways in a number of different fields. I was a teacher at Pickaway Ross. That was my first teaching job. I was hired by Brett Smith. And loved it there. Pickaway Ross will be celebrating its 50th anniversary in 2024. It opened in 1974. But one of the things that, as I've come from K-12 comprehensive education into career tech, that a lot of people don't know about us and other career centers, we also have an adult education side of the house that's sanctioned by the Department of Higher Ed. And we do a number of adult trainings from paramedic to EMT. We're working on an application for an RN program right there off 104 past Unioda and the prisons is where our building is located. So a lot of really exciting programming that we offer students within the 10 districts in Pickaway and Ross counties.
Now, you sold yourself short there because your connection to Pickaway Ross goes back much further than that. I didn't even really know that until I read the Gazette article about you. You were a preschool student.
My literal education career started on Crouse Chapel Road. I was a preschool student. I was a preschool student with another current staff member for Pickaway Ross, Amy Groff, who is one of our excellent satellite teachers at Chillicothe, another Zane Trace class of 99 grad, and Ben Bookwalter, the technology director at Adena local. Yeah. So we were in the same class at preschool.
That's funny. Both of my kids went through preschool there too.
Wonderful.
Amazing. So, you're kind of like a cliche now. You're the guy that started out in the district and was a teacher there, and now you could write a movie about you.
Yes, you could write that. It would not be a very long movie. A commercial, maybe.
Well, maybe this whole podcast, if the right people listen to it, we could find somebody to write the screenplay.
Hollywood will be calling.
That's right.
That's our goal. It is really, for me, grew up in Kingston, went to Zane Trace, as I've mentioned a few times, and my first teaching opportunity there, loved working there, having been a superintendent at Circleville for 5 years and sending students to Pickaway Ross and worked hard to send more and more students because recognizing the value that provides for not only the student, but the community. It really is an awesome opportunity. Been there a couple months trying to figure out exactly what in the world I'm doing. Spent a lot of time just trying to get to know everybody. We're, in a K-12 comprehensive, you're kind of all encompassed in one smaller location, typically, especially in this area. You won't have campuses everywhere. At Circleville, we were literally on the same footprint. I could walk to every building. I could see every teacher and every kid. I was at Adena yesterday, and then I pop over to Unioda, and then you hop up into the township and see some teachers. We are really expansive to Westfall and Williamsport, all the way to Circleville and into the Hocking Hills, really. So learning what our impact is, what our opportunities are, what our culture is. That's what I've tried to spend the first few months learning.
Yeah. One of the things I think is really interesting about your arrival to Pickaway Ross is you've kind of said, I'm not going to change a ton of stuff in this first year. I just want to soak it all in and kind of get to know things. I'm not saying that you're not going to change things because obviously I don't want to lock you in if you want to change things that is, but you've really tried to immerse yourself into the culture of Pickaway Ross before you start making big decisions, right?
Yeah. I didn't want to be that guy that came in and having not been a leader in an organization, stepped in the first day and said, "Hey, I'm the guy that knows everything, and we're going to change this without knowing the people, without knowing the reasons." And even though I'm from this community, I'm grew up right down the road. I don't necessarily know all the stakeholders, all the players, and all of the answers. So for me, I felt like when I ran Circleville, my strength was relationships. I would espouse I'm not the greatest curricular leader. That's not necessarily my forte. I try to hire well in those capacities. It's getting to know people, understanding that school is an experience for kids and for staff, and trying to create an environment around that. But I have to learn what that is at Pickaway Ross. And that's what I've really tried to do. And with that, coming in and not trying to put people, back on their heels and saying, I'm going to come in and attack this and attack this. I want to listen. What are your thoughts? Good, bad, or indifferent. I want to hear those. I want your feedback. Because when I worked in the school, I appreciated when people said that, and it creates a different buy-in level from kids, from our homeschool partners. I come from a little different experience. I was that superintendent at a homeschool just last year, and Dennis and I talked a lot about what are the opportunities Pickaway Ross could provide my students at Circleville. And that looks a little different than it does at Huntington and Southeastern, because it should. These are different communities with different needs and different thoughts and ideas. So yes, my initial thoughts have been to just kind of listen and learn, and we'll change a few things along the way, but this has been around 50 years. It didn't need me the first, 46. Right. It won't need me, in the long run. But that's basically my mission for now. But I just picked up a new book as I was at a conference in Austin, The Vision Driven Leader, and really, really good read. And I freaked out a little bit while I was on the plane. A lot of reasons to freak out flying currently, but sometimes you feel like I feel like I've been here 2.5, 3 months. Where are the check boxes? What have I done? What have I done? And it was really good that the first 2 or 3 steps were learn your people, learn your people. You're going to have time to do the things you want to do. But if you're not able to bring those people along with you, your time will end quickly.
Yeah. I feel like I started on the board in January, and I thought I knew Pickaway Ross because I'd covered it for a long time with the Gazette. And then I got there as a board member and learned a ton of things. And granted, it was in the middle of a pandemic, so it's a whole different experience. By the time we got to graduation, and we were at the VA for graduation, being on that field and seeing that immense group of people wearing different colors for the different schools, but all being united under the banner of Pickaway Ross was pretty inspiring. It really brings home just the fact of this 2 counties, multiple school districts, monolith that is this amazing group of people. And these kids, when you talk to them, they have friends at Logan Elm, and they work at, they're from Medina or Huntington, and they're from Circleville. And it's an amazing thing to see. It really is the appeal, I think.
It is in a homeschool, at Circleville, Friday night football games, basketball games throughout the week, culture can be created by, those types of events, and they happen often and throughout your kid's experience from 4 and 5 years old all the way up until they're 18. And it creates good culture, bad culture, but it's the community culture in that district. Career centers get students when they're 16, 17 years old, and we mesh them with, a kiddo from Williamsport, a kiddo from Huntington. In some of these instances, kiddos who may have been rivals in certain sports growing up, and that's the opportunity. But it's, to your point, the most powerful thing to see is to come to those graduations and see those different colors. And at the VA last year was just chilling. It was so good. Families in the stands cheering for all these kids in different academies, and all of the job opportunities these kids have worked so hard for in 2 years together. And it's a testament to the homeschools, to what Pickaway Ross is, and to these communities.
Yeah.
I mean, to have this, and that's why it was really intriguing for me, the opportunity right now in this economy and to make an impact with students was vast for me.
Yeah.
The ability to impact was the reason, I had applied.
I think it's interesting to see how the vocational school or the career technology thing has changed. I go back to when I was in school, and that was kind of the beginning of the real big push for everyone to go to college.
Yeah.
And so I felt like when we went and had the tour, like it didn't feel like it was the right place for me because I felt that push to go to college. Nobody before me in my family had gone to college. And so I was that, okay, it's your turn. This is what we want for you. And I really didn't think I gave the vocational school, which is what we called it back then, a fair shake, right? It was, okay, I did the tour. That's cool. I'm going to go on college visits, and I went off to college. But I've seen this transformation where we've really seen, like you talked about satellite teachers that you have, like that wasn't happening when I was in high school at Zane Trace. We didn't have anybody from the vocational school is actually a satellite teacher in our, so I think that has created an environment where kids have already developed some relationship before they have an opportunity to go to the career center. And now we're seeing the lack of trades and training that's happening for those trades. And so we see the things that you're providing, the opportunities you have for students, there is a giant need for them in the economy right now, in our community right now. Filling jobs that are empty. I think about the things that the companies that I use almost weekly or daily, struggling to hire people because not enough people are going through those programs.
And you've got an amazing placement rate for kids coming out of your school.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. It's like now we see you're graduating kids and they're going straight into professions and having an impact immediately in the market.
Yeah. Statistically, we're graduating over 96% of our kids. And to be fair, our homeschools are doing a phenomenal job of graduating kids too, whether they come to us or not. In Pickaway and Ross County, the graduation rate's stellar. But we're placing 92.1% of our students that are leaving the career center, and some of those don't necessarily go straight to the trade that they were training in, but a vast majority of them do. And there are certain trades right now where the moment a student is accepted, comes to that open house, mom and dad are there, we have employers that are begging us to come in and, can I meet these kids? Can I meet their parents? Because if I like their work ethic and like what you're telling me about them, I'll hire them right now and I'll train them. And, and this was a collective in the state. We dropped the ball big time when we started the conversation around college, because we did a phenomenal job in this state of making folks think it was just college. And that's put us in this spot. And I went to college, you went to college, we all went to college, and I benefited from it, and I'll do it again. And I look at my two children, and, my oldest is 13 and talks a lot about college. My 10-year-old is hands-on. He is an engineering mindset. And he says, Dad, if I can come to Career Center, I want to come and I want to torque on this and I want to build that. But we're having the conversation now about careers.
Right.
And the opportunity, again, for high school students now can get college credit plus. Your girls probably graduated with a massive amount of credits. Most kiddos do. But now they can also graduate with these credentials. They can walk into the workforce. That employer will say, I'll not only hire you, I'll pay for you to go back to college. And then we're booming our own economy even further, because they're not taking on that debt that our generation took on because we were told it's college.
That's right.
And when I looked at my dad, and Tom Davis took me to Kentucky for a visit, and they said, this is a really cool campus. It's beautiful. It's going to be $28,000 a year. And Tom Davis looked at me and said, you're going to have to pay for that. And I said, I think I'll consider some other options. And I'm thankful for that. But there are a lot of other students of my generation who didn't, and came out with just debilitating debt. And now the conversation has shifted. And I try to be clear, it hasn't shifted that college isn't a good option. It's shifted that there are a lot of other options. 40% of local students say when they graduate, they're going to go to college, a 4 or a 2 year. Statistically, 6 years later, only about 20% of them actually come out with some type of degree or credential. So you're talking about we're missing 60% of kids up front.
Yeah.
And then 6 years later, even the ones who said they were going didn't. Pickaway Ross has the opportunity with our homeschools to do more. If we're already graduating 96%, we're already placing 92%, the economy is begging us as a community, help us fill the rest of that. Because during COVID, the highlight was you couldn't get somebody to work on, you need an electrician, good luck. You know, if you needed heating and cooling, good luck. If you needed, you know, if you were in a manufacturing setting, there's still banging down the doors. We'll give you the X, Y, and Z. Our country and economy and locally, we need those employees to get those credentials to come out, and they're ready to roll.
Yeah. Well, and when you consider that, I heard I was at a meeting today where the superintendent or the plant manager for Pixel was there. Their average age of their employees is 58. They had 50. They're going to probably have 50 retirees this year, and they're forecasting another 50 next year. That means the opportunity for kids coming out of school is incredibly good. So, I mean, ultimately, you know, kids that have skills or that can even start, you know, working summers there if they're 17, 18, and then they graduate, they can walk right into a job that can, I mean, they pay six figures when you factor in the benefits.
That's the
if
thing.
I was 18 years old and making six figures, the world was my oyster, man. So
Chillicothe is a great place to live. If you're making, you know, think of that from, you know, a young kid stepping out, and instead of stepping into debt, you're stepping into this amazing opportunity. That's what I took away from that. I was
absolutely.
Virtual this morning. He said our compensation package is six figures, and wow. And the constant, as we sit in these economic development meetings, as I'm getting calls from employers, is, you know, the bar for what they're looking for is not master's degree level much of anything. It's what's your work ethic? You know, what's your character? Can you show up? Are you willing to learn and work within a team setting? If you'll do those things, even we at Pickaway Ross would look at you. There's just not enough in the workforce. And that's the opportunity for us, is to really look at with our homeschool partners, how we can change some of the trainings we do throughout career exploration for middle school kids. Teach them. I was always surprised at those elementary kiddos. You think kids understand what jobs are in the world. They only understand the jobs they interact with. Police officer, doctor, principal, teacher. Outside of that, a kiddo may only know 5 or 6 different occupations, and how limiting that is. So opening the doors to that, and then really working on the soft skills training and the opportunities of pathways that we can create on our campus, in our adult ed program, and in our homeschools. That it excites me to talk about it, because that's how we benefit this community and kids at the same time.
And you have a concept of looking at, and I share this because I feel like the same way at the chamber. We're a community center. I'm meant to serve the business community, but when you serve the business community, you serve the community at large. And you kind of feel that way about education in the school too. And I'd like explain that a little bit, because I think it's really interesting that this concept that you've come up with.
Yeah. So when I was at Circleville, it's a wonderful experience. I was there 11 years, and, you know, I started in an after school program that was federally funded, and it was specific to students who were severely at risk. You know, we had students who were on probation, you know, had students who were drug addicted, just couldn't survive school. And so it was my job to come up with programming, but I had to partner with a lot of local agencies to make it benefit kids, because sometimes we forget that the poverty rates in this country are pretty staggering, and what kiddos might come in to school with. And that really kind of opened my eyes to how we needed to be community centered for kids. Then I hopped into the assistant principal role, became the assistant superintendent. As we were building our buildings, communities love to talk about how you build buildings when you're building new school buildings. It brings the people together in the best of ways and in the most frightening of ways. But schools literally are the main talking point every day. They're the main point of pride and contention. And, I think, and you've mentioned this a few times, you get to highlight to businesses the schools that they're going to be able to bring their employees and their children to. That's what really got me excited, was I could take my students and build this district and encompass the city and the community. And it benefited my kids and it benefited the community as a whole, because ultimately we want to grow and raise talent here that stays here.
Right.
That there are plenty of opportunities here for you to be, all the big things you want to be in your life and to live a wonderful life as we've lived. And so I've always felt, break the school walls down a little bit, open up what you're doing, because the community wants to help you for the most part. You have those little ancillary issues when you have 2,000 kids or, 700. Yeah. When you have 2 kids in my house, I got issues, but as a whole, when the school is good, the community is good. And when the community is good, the school is good. Yeah. And just having that kind of mindset and just attacking problems collectively. It's the wellness stuff we're talking about right now. Yep. We've had a wonderful partner in Adina, and I had good experience in Circleville as well. And Nationwide Children's has been great. Helping meet the needs of kids is good for our community.
Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of took a different route. You got into career tech, and then you left education for a while, and then you kind of came back. Because I think when I first remembered you, you had I think it was Edward Jones, was it?
Yeah. I was either with Sean Bauer just down the road here, or I was on Bridge Street. I was probably on Bridge Street at that time.
That's what I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I've had a very interesting path. My wife says I needed to slow down a long time ago, but, I got my degree from Shawnee State, came back, worked 2 years at Pickaway Ross, taught social studies, really enjoyed my experience, had a good friend I grew up with, Matt Edler, who's an Edward Jones financial advisor, went to church with him for years and loved personal finance. Matt and I used to talk a lot. And he said, you should really consider this financial advising thing. And so I did. My wife was in grad school in Athens. And if you're ever going to try something like that, hey, go for it. Did that for about 4.5 years, opened the office on Bridge Street. And during that time, I was coaching soccer and had some connections at Circleville. This is 2008, 9-ish. If you remember your portfolio then, it was not great. And so opportunity arose to enter education again. I initially thought I'd applied for a social studies position at Circleville, and they thankfully, smartly hired Nick Hammond, who I say, still phenomenal government teacher. They made the right choice, didn't offer me the job, offered me this quasi admin job. And I took it. God works in mysterious ways, just kind of taught me. My time at Edward Jones kind of taught me I was really good at relating to people. I was really bad at all of the other stuff. It just wasn't my thing. I love talking finance, but I'd sit and talk to you for 7 hours as opposed to, hey, you need to talk to some more people. Mm-hmm. So got back into education and really fell in love with educational leadership. And did 1 year of after school program, 2 years as assistant principal, 3 years as assistant soup, and then 5 years as superintendent. Yeah. So I've worked with Sean, had a great experience. Heard you and Andy Tomlinson talking about Carl's. I spent a lot of time at Carl's. One of the reasons I'm excited to be back in Chillicothe. Love this community. Yeah. And love what I've learned about Pickaway County too, living there. Yeah.
That's funny. I thinking about when I met with you one time when you were had the office there at North Bridge Street, and that seems so long ago. But it was fun to. I would get random phone calls from Jonathan every once in a while. He's like, "Hey, you ever thought about getting back into coaching?" Anytime you have a coaching position, but it would give us a chance to catch up, and I would find out what he was doing. And just watching your career path has been fun from an outsider to see your success. But I know that we'll see that at the Career Tech Center as well. You bring a quality leadership, like you said, understanding leadership and what that means, jumping in with both feet, I'm sure, but just listening. Yeah. Because I know that as well about you, is just building relationships is an important piece to I think any great leader is understanding the people that you're working with and how how you can best use their skills, their knowledge. And so they're lucky to have you, I think.
Yeah. If Tom Davis taught me anything, it was, and my dad is, the role model of all role models, is he's empathetic, he's hardworking, he's extremely humble. I'm probably less humble than he is in some aspects, but to be able to sit down and understand where people are coming from, recognize that, they have, their day was different than your day, and sometimes just listening and coming to an agreement on things. I love leadership. I love educational leadership because I feel like if I can impact teachers in a positive way, then I've impacted hundreds of students in that setting. And that's, we need that right now. It's a hard environment for educators, hard environment for everyone right now. And we've got a wonderful staff. I had a great staff at Circleville, and I've been really impressed with the staff at Pickaway Ross.
Yeah. And I would say that the time is right now for empathetic leadership that can sit back a little bit and say, okay, we're all going through a thing, right? And even if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic, it was still difficult before. And so I would imagine it's also a little bit of a challenge, because when you're an empathetic leader, you tend to take the weight of some of that stuff on. How do you balance that?
That's hard. And there are nights I wouldn't sleep early on. When I was an assistant principal, I think that was one of the most impactful jobs I ever had, because it was chaos from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. You were just flying around, putting out fires, but you were immediately helping people. Right. I was helping a teacher, I was helping a kid, I was helping a mom or a dad. But when those kids left at 3, you just wanted to fall down on your floor and take a nap. As a district-wide leader, you wear things longer. So, you see, we had students who had, severe, had children who lost parents. And, what are we going to do for those kids when they come back? And, how can we help them? And if my wife would take every kid in. I don't know how many conversations we've had about, Jonathan, I'm just going to bring them home. I'm going to bring them home with me. I said, well, talk to someone about that before you do. And she's a speech therapist at Zane Trace and just has a huge heart. And it's hard. And lots of times you do feel like you couldn't help enough. But looking at the overall picture, and the culture of the organization as a whole, I take a lot of pride in the fact that we build a culture where all of our people can become service-minded and help as much as humanly possible. And so, I know when that person comes in and engages with our team, they're going to feel good about it. They have the kids' best interest at heart. And, sometimes we have to make difficult decisions, but your organizations have to do the same thing. Yeah. And it's just a little different. We deal with, sometimes younger people.
Yeah. You've been there for a couple of months, so you've had a chance to get out to all the campuses and visit the homeschools and things like that. What's the thing that really you're the most proud of so far since you've been there?
Yeah. So our staff has been, every superintendent I've been with has just talked glowingly of our staff that are on their campuses. And, we have a pretty big ag presence, obviously, in our homeschools. There are a handful of our homeschools that don't have that, and we're working on doing some things on main campus for those students who don't have that ag opportunity. But you think about the massive FFA programs we have in the homeschools, and success in a classroom, coaching, advising is dependent on the person leading it, and we have really impressive leaders. I have been really caught off guard in a good way by the homeschool superintendents. I'm coming in and said, hey, I sat in your seat a year ago. These are the questions I had. What are you thinking? Oh, I don't know. I love this person. I love this. I want to think about how we can serve more of our students with a career tech scope, whether it's here, maybe it's on your home campus. Everyone's kind of coming around this idea that, we're the answer. I don't mean we as just, Pickaway Ross. I mean, career education. All of the credentialing, I look at you, the things that you do, the sound stuff, you're building stuff, super crafty. You didn't get that probably at Zane Trace when you were there. Right. Throughout time. But I think about if I can expose, the next Marty Ford to that when they're in middle school and in high school, can I accelerate that? Because that's what not only you probably would have loved, but our economy would have loved too, and our community. So that's what excites me. And I love to go out to the homeschools and learn what they're working on too, because it's giving me ideas about how we can plug in.
Yeah.
Well, I have a unique view into your programs and that you're working on, because I work with one of your satellite teachers at Chillicothe, the media program there, Mrs. George, and working with those kids on Friday nights at football games, running that scoreboard, using cameras. Like that would have been a program. If that was happening when I was in high school, I would have been all in.
Absolutely.
But I had to go discover that, after I left high school and in college. I got involved in things that took me down that path. And then I became a musician later in life and started learning these things. But now we have kids that we're teaching this stuff on Friday night. They're running the scoreboard. They're doing instant replay on the video board. They're doing those kind of things. And then, we've had a couple of them go off to college on that path as students and work for the university doing similar things.
Right.
And which is exciting to see that program continues to grow. So
I constantly say our students are so much more talented than we were when we were students. And, they've been
I'm older than you guys. So that's definitely true.
And you want to see that continue,
correct.
Yeah. In every generation you want.
Correct. And want to be a catalyst for that. I think that's one of the things that I think about our opportunity as a career center is not just to be thinking about this is the moment in time opportunity, because that will eventually fade. Be progressive in thought that, okay, this is how we can fill this need currently, but how can I help this employer, this homeschool, us as a career center think about something 5 years from now, 7 years from now? And that's hard in the sense because you have to plan and you run on a school calendar and budgets do come into effect. But we want to be that. We want to be the catalyst for all students contemplating their path, whether it's with us at the Career Center, or it's via the homeschool and into college. Great. We want to be that catalyst. So it is exciting. I mean, our students are so incredibly talented. I was with Sherry Ziegler at St. Trace, one of my favorite teachers ever, worked via Pickaway Ross. I made eggs every morning in home ec. And I went there, took the class because we made eggs every morning. I got to eat, but she was impactful to me. But that was my career tech exposure. I think about what these kids are getting now. It's just amazing.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about the Pickaway Ross network is the robotics center.
Right.
I went there with our big class a few years ago and was blown away. I think they had to keep me from going over there and messing with stuff and just trying to experiment on my own.
Right.
I think that's a really, when you think about the idea that the Kenworth line is largely robotics, when you think about these other places that are doing things that are largely robotics, literally these people that are in the robotics center can be stepping into jobs, or the people that come and fix the robots at Kenworth don't have to come from Columbus anymore. They could be coming from, Chillicothe or Circleville or wherever. That's a thing of beauty for our community. I mean, that's building a skill set that we didn't have 5-10 years ago. Right. And may have 20, 40, 50 years down the road.
Correct. You're talking about Fanic robots and, how there's overlap between what our students are learning and local manufacturing. And a phenomenal teacher, again, Josh Kennison.
Absolutely.
The building, you are absolutely right. I mean, first time I walked in it just reminded me of Big Hero 6. And every time my son Graham watched it, and it was all robots, and it is top of the line. And when you think about career tech education and how it exposes students to amazing opportunities, those kids can walk out with something north of 20 credentials that they can walk into an employer and say, these are the skills I have. And I got my diploma, and I'm probably taking some advanced courses in science or math or whatever. Employers drool over that stuff. And there are opportunities in almost every field that way. Yeah.
Our biggest challenge, I think, as a community is to not let them get stolen by the Columbus.
Agreed.
Because those folks, they know all the career tech schools around that encircle Columbus, and they're trying to find the best and the brightest and pull them up there, with the lure of the big city. Hey, you're next to everything here. And meanwhile, we have to offer them something that, hey, you're close to home, and you can have a lot of those things without a lot of the problems, no traffic and so on.
Your conversation with Andy Tomlinson was excellent, and it's kudos to you all and the folks who have worked via the downtown here. And I credit Ryan Scribner with the growth in Pickaway County. These communities have changed drastically over the last 10 or 15 years. And when we were going away to college, there were a lot of us that said, I don't anticipate I'll end up back there. I look around now and the quality of life, the opportunity, the housing. Oh my, it's all right there for you, and the opportunity career-wise is big. So that's what I really want to do as superintendent, is really embed ourselves in driving community growth, wellness for all of our districts, and keeping that our talent's big. The pool of talent we have with students is massive. Let's keep it here. Yeah,
you're getting a good chamber director in Ivory Harlow too. Met with her a couple weeks ago. I knew her from the Farm Bureau, right? She's an exciting one, I think, for that region. I think you'll be able to synergize the economic development folks with the chamber better there. So that'll be good.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to meet when she was with the Farm Bureau. So we'll continue that conversation just in a little different capacity. So it is exciting, the opportunity. The challenge is new and unique for me. That's part of the sitting and waiting and learning and listening is, well, that's a new word. What's that? That's a new funding stream. Okay, how? It's school in some sense, and I feel pretty confident in my ability to do that. And we have a really good team, Todd, our treasurer, and a really good group. And God bless the board for giving me the opportunity. Sometimes I'm like, I can't believe these people let me run stuff.
I'll tell you, when I first came on at the chamber, I'm sure this is true for you. I stole a line from Denzel Washington in Philadelphia, where he's talking with with people about the AIDS epidemic and so on. He says repeatedly throughout that movie, so talk to me like I'm a third grader, because he doesn't understand the terminology. He doesn't understand the situation. So he's just trying to drink in as much information as possible. And I think you have to do that especially when you transfer from a district local to the world of, career tech like that. That's a whole different set of terminology. It's a whole set of nuances that I felt the same way. I thought I knew a lot about the chamber when I came over from the Gazette, but they'd start talking in those terms and I'm like, I don't know that. Yeah. Tell me what that means, so
your stakeholder group got much bigger from, I knew my athletics, I knew my band, I knew, my academics. And again, it's pretty centralized. Tim Williams, Logan Elm superintendent, a godsend to me, great friend, mentor. I called him about every day as a new superintendent. What do I do here? What do I do there? Now, we've got 50 career centers in the state. We're pretty spread out. So you can go a long time without seeing your colleagues. And so I'm creating that network of folks that I can say, hey, what are your thoughts about this? And hi, my name's Jonathan. I'm the new guy in Chillicothe. So it's bringing it down. And again, we've, Dennis was a godsend to me also this summer. So it's been a fun few months. Yeah, fun few months.
So what's the future look like for Pickaway Ross?
It's exciting. I think I'm supposed to say it's exciting. It's definitely exciting.
I was going to say, I would be worried if you didn't.
Correct. I think the future for us is that we have a mass amount of really engaged employers, really dynamic, chamber folks, and give, Mike credit. And I say that from the aspect of they're at the table in all of the good and the difficult conversations. And that's what I love about these areas. People are willing to, okay, we've got a challenge. Let's get around the table and figure it out. We've got to really decide when we look at kind of that visioning, where is our opportunity to impact while also serving the best needs of students? Because I'll be honest, you've been approached by certain employers about, hey, we really want this and want that. I don't necessarily know some of these trainings are always the best thing for our students because we still have to graduate them. There's still some massive aspect to, I can get them credentialed, but if I can't get them to pass math, algebra, this could be a problem. I think expansion is in our future. What does that look like? I don't know. Is it, where our campus, again, we're 50 years old on campus. And so some either updates of facilities, upgrades of labs, maybe addition of some type of facility. And we're going through a process right now with trying to find an architect to come in and just help us walk through, facilities mapping and planning. Our enrollment numbers are up. The engagement, again, for students and families and employers for career education has never been better. I don't know, in this economy especially, it's needed. So I don't know specifically, but I know for me, I like to embed and find the opportunity. And I think our opportunity is expansion. And that, again, could be anything from on campus to in some of our home schools. So I've still got a lot to learn, but I think we're going to be coming to the board here in some time in the future and saying, all right, here's our opportunity. Yeah. Let's take it. Yeah.
Well, I got to be honest with you. This board member is super excited about having you with us at Pickaway Ross. I think the board feels the same way. We'll have challenges ahead for sure, Absolutely. But I feel like we've got good leadership now that will guide us through those challenges. Keep doing what you're doing because it's working. Like I feel like we have made the right choice. I can say it because I wasn't part of the choice. You were hired before I got on the board. True. But at the same time, I've just been incredibly impressed by your leadership and the way you've kind of come into this first year.
I appreciate that.
And, I think we'll have to keep working toward the prize, which is getting more kids connected to the next career.
Correct.
And, let's just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I think that's really flipping the script on, if I've got 40% of kiddos in this community, in both the communities that say they're going to a 4-year school, how about we say we got 100% of kids that know what their next step is?
Right.
It's a career, whether I'm going to college for 4, 6, 8, 12, however many years for that career, or it's I'm going to go take my FANUC robot training and I'm going down to Kenworth and I'm going to do this or fill in it, that role at Pixel. That's what I'd like to do.
Or the kid that wants to, let's say they want to get into the cosmetology program, they graduate, they could go get a job right now, but maybe they get into it and they're like, you know what, I still want to go to college and maybe go to business school so I can open my own salon or I can do that. Like, I think that's a really underrated skill. Like if you can come out of high school with a bunch of skills that people want, but still be interested in the college experience. And maybe you go and you think, man, I was doing that. I really do love that.
Yeah.
But I want to do this other thing. Like, it's not a bad thing to say, I got all these skills and now I'm going to go do this other thing.
Yeah.
The average, I think the total number of jobs you have by the age of 40 or what is like 8.
Yeah.
Like, changing careers once or twice is no big deal.
Not a big deal. And we live in the era of side hustles too.
Yeah,
so if nothing else, getting skilled and credentialed in something that can bring you in some extra revenue or just be a hobby, not a bad thing.
No.
Yep. And a lot of the skilled trades that we have at Pickaway Ross are super desperately needed right now.
Right.
So getting more people into those, I think, is going to be a real boom for our economy moving on. So
it's crucial. It's crucial because you just see the struggle that our community has. Like you said earlier, getting an electrician, having people come work on your house that they're desperate and they're just waiting because I had to use an electrician a couple weeks ago and it took about 3 weeks to get them out there. And that didn't used to be an issue, but it is now every day.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mike and I have talked about, just even in restaurants, every restaurant at, whatever time it is tonight has probably closed their main doors and they're just doing drive-throughs. They just don't have enough folks. And, we do everything from that serve safe training and, we could, we've worked on and are trying to help fill that need as well. And it sounds simplistic, but that's a quality of life community concern.
Yes.
And how can, we help play a part there while also benefiting, our students. So, yeah.
Well, and I can't tell you how many of our downtown establishments so frustrated by the lack of being able to keep people who had this amazing dream in 2019, they are just at it and they are so psyched about being a business owner. And now in 21, they're like, man, is this really what I want to keep doing? And that's a big risk for us.
Yeah.
Because the appeal right now of our community is downtown and what's going on there.
Yeah.
And even, some of the stuff on Bridge Street too, if we can't keep people in those places and these business owners are like, man, enough of this, I can go out and consult or I can go, a different place. We're going to lose a big, big part of what made our community really, really great over the last 5 years. You know? So, but Jonathan, thanks for being with us. Man, it's been great. I'm glad you were able to come on board and just keep going after it, man.
I appreciate you both. And it's been an honor. Another Zane Trey Soccer alumni.
Again, for those Zane Trey Soccer alumni, you'll have to wait for season 3.
That's funny. I'll have to cut that out, but it's all good. I'm proud of you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
You're listening to the Feels Like Home podcast with Mike Throne and Marty Ford. Powered by Horizon. This is big. This is gig.
It feels a little strange, but I don't feel alone. We just settled in and it already feels like home. Feels like home. Feels like